It's often said that you don't truly know someone until you hear them discussing you. I've always believed that my marriage is strong. After 3 years of marriage, we had been together for 6 years. Yes, we argued about money, plans for the future, and other typical topics. However, I believed we were content. She seemed content to me. Then it happened last Friday night, and I came to the realization that I was merely a stand-in for my wife. The talk that made all the difference. During their regular girls' night, Monica invited a few of her friends over. Every few weeks, they sat about drinking wine, chatting, and laughing too loudly. Usually, I just worked or played games in my office, but I became hungry that evening, so I went to get some chips below. It was then that I heard my name. I had no intention of listening in. However, when my own wife said, "Really? Just take a look at Cliff," I went cold. Just out of sight, I stood in the hallway. I then heard the others. "He's fine, I guess. But if someone with more drive and better prospects came along, yeah, I'd probably upgrade." They all chuckled, as if it were a joke, as if my whole life, our life, were merely a starter pack that she was eager to exchange. Dissecting me as if I were unworthy as she continued, I felt sick to my stomach. I was perhaps too safe, too dull, insufficiently ambitious. He's been at the same company for 4 years. Like, he's stable, which is nice, but I just wish he had a little more drive, you know? I mean, Tessa's husband just got promoted again, and they're talking about upgrading to a bigger house. Her best buddy, Maya, immediately jumped in. "Yeah, you deserve that kind of life too, right?" Monica then let out a sigh. I mean, sometimes I just look at him and think, is this it? Is this my life? Additional mutterings of agreement. More giggling. It seemed as though someone had punched me in the stomach. It didn't end there either. It was embarrassing to drive my nearly new 2020 Honda Civic. My attire is too simple and dad-like. Too loud, even my chuckle. They dissected me as if I were a used car she was eager to replace. What's the worst? Not one of them stood up for me. For what purpose did I do the things I had done for her? It all hit me at once, and I stood paralyzed. Everything I'd done for her, everything I had done to help her. I paid all of Monica's expenses for 8 months when she wanted to quit her job to launch a business, but she later decided she didn't enjoy it. I covered the cost when she decided to return to school for her master's. That lovely vehicle she drives, on it, I make the payments. I had been trying to please her for years. You would assume I was a lazy, unmotivated person after hearing her talk. The part that broke me the most, though, the next thing she said, was that one of her acquaintances said, "At least he's good with the house stuff," as if I were a butler. Monica simply chuckled. Yeah, I mean, that's something. The conflict. My hunger gone. I made my way back to my office. I tried to take it all in as I sat there looking at my computer screen. How long had this feeling been with her? Had she been sharing this information with her friends all along? Was this her true opinion of me? I began to repeat every tiny memory in my mind. The way she consistently included me in Instagram pictures of opulent homes with the words "someday." When we encountered her coworkers, she appeared embarrassed. The small remarks about other men's nicer stuff and better employment. I always assumed she was just having huge dreams. Now, though, I understood that she had been telling me all along, but I chose not to listen. I also couldn't act like nothing was wrong. After her guests had left around midnight, I eventually entered our bedroom. She pretended nothing had happened as she prepared to go to bed, as if she hadn't already acknowledged that she would leave me right away if a better man appeared. "Did you mean what you said?" I spoke in a calm tone, but the strain was obvious. She scowled. "What are you talking about?" I crossed my arms. "What you said to your friends. About upgrading from me. About how I'm fine. I guess, but you'd rather have someone with more drive and better prospects." Her expression altered so quickly. Initial misunderstanding. Next, shock, then a small, apprehensive laugh. She rolled her eyes and said, "Oh my God, were you listening to us? It was just girl talk. Don't be so sensitive." I gazed at her. Just girl talk? She opened a drawer with an irritated groan. "Cliff, you're overreacting." "No." I took a step closer and shook my head. I heard everything. The stuff about my job, my car, and how I'm not ambitious enough. That didn't sound like jokes, Monica. Angrily, she crossed her arms. "Well, if you're going to spy on private conversations, you're going to hear things you don't like." I gave a little sour laugh. "So now I'm the bad guy, because I heard you trashing me?" She rubbed her temples and moaned. "Jesus, Cliff, you're making such a big deal out of nothing. You know how the girls get when we're together? We were just joking around." I gave a head shake. "No, you don't joke about that. You don't sit there and tell your friends you'd replace your husband in a heartbeat and expect me to just laugh it off." Her lips clenched. Then, like if turning a switch, she started crying. "It's unbelievable that you would even ask me that," she said in a broken whisper. "You're being so insecure right now." I tightened my jaw. "I don't think it's insecurity when I literally heard you say it." Then she said it. The single word that made all the difference. "Maybe this is why I feel stuck sometimes. Stuck. As if our union had been a trap. As if I were something she had to make do with." I inhaled deeply. Because at that time, this wasn't just a lousy conversation. I knew this marked the start of the end. And regardless of what came next, I would never again have the same perspective on my wife. Trust is compared to a mirror. Even if you attempt to glue it back together after it has cracked, the fractures will remain. I had that feeling when I looked at Monica. I believed that we were content for years. Instead of focusing on what she hoped I would become, I believed I was creating a life with a lady who loved me for who I was. However, after that evening, everything was different. The betrayal day, after I didn't get much sleep, Monica was sleeping sweetly next to me, as if nothing had occurred, while I lay awake, gazing at the ceiling, as if she hadn't broken my heart 12 hours prior, as if she hadn't made fun of me with her pals for not being suitable for her. I woke up early, made coffee. Staring at the cup, I sat at the kitchen table, trying to figure out what in the world I was meant to do next. Then, as if it were any other morning, Monica entered, stretching and yawning. "Hey," she whispered as she poured a cup for herself. I didn't respond. I simply observed her. I had loved this woman. I have made sacrifices for this woman. This woman thought of me as merely a stand-in. She sighed as she looked at me. "Oh my God, are you still mad?" I clenched my jaw. "I don't think mad is the right word." She gave an eye roll. "Cliff, we've been together for 6 years. If I really didn't love you, don't you think I would have left already?" I gave a harsh chuckle. "You literally said you would leave if someone better came along." With a moan, she put down her cup. I was venting. "It doesn't mean I don't love you. You're just safe." I went cold. "Safe?" She smiled pathetically at me and grabbed my hand. "Yes, safe, reliable. I know I can trust you." "That's a good thing." I withdrew my hand. "A good thing?" Unexpectedly, she blinked. "Yes?" I let out a slow breath. "No, Monica. You don't want safe. You want someone who impresses your friends. Someone who makes more money, drives a luxury car, and takes you on extravagant vacations." Her expression clouded. "That's not fair, isn't it?" She said nothing. Since she was aware, I was correct, and she knew it. She tried to tell herself lies. Monica tried to be normal for the following 3 days. In the mornings, she bid me farewell with a kiss, sent me sporadic texts during the day, prepared my favorite supper dishes. However, I sensed it. The change. She tried to tell herself that everything was all right, that everything would return to normal if we simply avoided discussing it and pretended it had never occurred. However, it wouldn't, since I had been told the truth, and now I was unable to unhear it. The weekend I was broken. We attended a cookout at her friend Tessa's place a week later. When she indicated she would upgrade from me, the same buddies had chuckled. That night, I kept a tight eye on them. The way their gazes met. When I was around, they reduced their voices. They were all aware. They all believed me to be a helpless, ignorant spouse who was unaware that his wife wasn't truly in love with him. I felt like a joke. Monica, too. She pretended that everything was fine. I'm laughing, talking. Monica was listening intently as Tessa's husband showed off his brand new Tesla. As she ran her hand over the hood, she exclaimed, "It's such a sleek car." I watched her from where I stood, and I suddenly realized it. She didn't view me like a wife ought to view her husband. I was a stepping stone in her eyes, a man with whom to establish stability until a better opportunity arose. And the insight? I felt ill from it. I began getting ready to go. My choice was made that evening. Someone who viewed me as an option rather than a decision was not someone I could stay with. I was worthy of better. I so began to plot. First, collect evidence. I had no faith in her. No more. I therefore began to monitor her phone usage patterns, her timetable. She was interacting with Tessa and Maya more than normal. That's what she told me, anyway. However, I had a gut feeling. She wasn't only spending time with her pals, she was observing, searching for a better person. Step 2, protect my money. I began discreetly dividing up our money, made sure a different account was receiving my paycheck, examined our joint credit cards to see what she was purchasing. To put it mildly, a few of her transactions were intriguing. Dinners at upscale eateries I had never visited. I knew she couldn't afford luxury boutiques on her own. I had a strong feeling that there was another person. All I needed was evidence. Step 3. Discover the reality. I therefore did something I never would have imagined doing. I looked at her phone, and what did I discover? Everything altered as a result. The reality emerges. There were several guys involved. 3 o'clock. Jason, a coworker, was one of them. Months have passed since they started messaging. Flirtatious messages. Wish you were here SMS sent late at night. The second one? Evan is a gym trainer. Just testing the waters, nothing major. What about the third? An older, wealthy man. Married. He was wealthy, and his name was William. A lot of it. She was going to fancy dinners with him, purchasing presents for her, claiming that she was too good for her current situation. Monica, too? She was consuming it. She had texted him, saying, "I just feel like I was meant for something more." He'd said, "You are, sweetheart. You deserve better." And at that very moment, I had no feelings. No heartache, no rage, pure icy clarity. Monica had already left the house. She was holding off on leaving me till the proper time. She simply was unaware. I was going to be the first to leave her. The start of my retaliation. I refrained from confronting her right away. It would have been too simple. No, it was important to me that she feel it. Verify that she was aware of what she had thrown away. So I started working on my idea, slowly, with caution. Because when I eventually left, I was determined to make sure she felt bad about everything she had ever said about me. And that, the best part was going to be that. People believe that anger is the root of revenge, because it involves yelling, fighting, and smashing objects. But actual retaliation? It is silent. It's witnessing someone ruin themselves, knowing that they are solely responsible for their own demise. Monica believed she was in charge. I was the fallback option, that until she found something better, I would always be there. She didn't know what was going to happen, so I wasn't just going to abandon her. When I did, I was going to make sure she lost everything. The dual life I began, leading the first refrained from confronting her. After discovering the messages, I portrayed the ideal husband. In the mornings, I bid her farewell with a kiss. inquired about her day, prepared dinner, and she was unaware that I was already getting ready to leave. Step 1. Secure my funds. I transferred all of my funds to a personal account, removed my name from our shared credit cards, ceased making auto payments. Monica, too? She was unaware. The earth beneath her was already collapsing, but she was too preoccupied with pursuing her ideal life to see it. Step 2. Obtain evidence. I required proof of everything, not just the cheating. The statements from the credit cards. She described the dinner bookings as girls' nights. She believed I would never see the flirtatious communications. What's the best part? It turns out that her covert little affair with married sugar daddy William wasn't so covert after all. Because of William's wife, she was going to learn everything. How I reversed the situation. Monica went out one evening for drinks with Maya. She was lying, and I knew it. After 10 minutes of waiting, I picked up my keys. William frequently took her to this beautiful steakhouse, so I traveled across town to visit it. And there they were, acting as though I didn't exist, while sipping wine and joking at a booth. I stayed out of the house. I didn't cause any trouble. I just snapped a photo. Monica holding William's hand across the table in a crisp, clear picture. Then, I forwarded it to his spouse. The initial domino falls. It was not long before the explosion occurred. Monica was as pale as a ghost when she returned home a few days later. She put her handbag down with trembling hands. "Babe," she said in a strained tone, "something weird happened today." I sipped my coffee while leaning on the counter. "Oh?" she chuckled nervously. "William's wife found out about us." I arched an eyebrow. "No kidding?" She gazed at me. For the first time, why? I wasn't responding as she had anticipated. I wasn't surprised. I wasn't upset. I was at ease. Monica, too? She sensed it. She sensed a problem. However, she was unaware of how dire things were going to get. Her ideal dream begins to fall apart. As usual, I left for work the following morning. However, rather than heading to the office, I visited a lawyer. I submitted a divorce petition, using all the evidence I had collected. The infidelity, the carelessness with money. Everything. What's the best part? Every cent had already been moved out of our accounts by me. Monica was on the verge of losing everything. She finally faces the truth. I arrived home early that evening. She appeared anxious as she sat on the couch and browsed through her phone. A folder fell to the coffee table from my hand. She raised her head, perplexed. "What's this?" Opposite her, I took a seat. Divorce papers. The color left her face. "Cliff, wait," I spoke calmly as I leaned forward. "You thought I was just going to sit here and let you keep looking for something better? Let you keep treating me like I was a stepping stone?" Her eyes welled with tears. "I didn't mean it like that." I gave a little chuckle. "Really? Because you sure as hell meant it when you said it to your friends." Her mouth parted, then shut again. She was at a loss for words. Because deep down, she was aware. This was something she deserved. "The last hit," she muttered. "We can fix this," and reached for my hand. I withdrew. "No, Monica. You broke this." Frantically, she shook her head. "But I love you." I cocked my head. "Do you? Or did you just love the stability I gave you?" Her breath came in sharply, as we were both aware of the solution. I was never adored by Monica. The thought of me delighted her, of the life I gave. Now, though, that life was no more. And she was going to experience what it was truly like to be by herself. I left without turning around. Over the following 3 days, I packed my belongings, stole all that belonged to me. She pleaded, wept. I didn't care, though, since she waited for someone better for years. She was unaware that I was the greatest gift she could possibly get. And now, she had to come to terms with the truth that she had thrown everything away for nothing. The life she permanently lost, Monica, believed she was making a trade-up, that without me, things would improve. However, following the divorce, her entire world fell apart. After his wife filed for divorce, William abandoned Monica as if she were unimportant. She lost the lifestyle, the car, and the apartment. And me? I went on, more content, richer, at peace. What's the best part? She never crossed my mind again. But her? She will live her entire life regretting the day she ever denigrated me. Because when I turned to leave, I brought everything that was important to her with me. Finding out is often regarded as the hardest part of betrayal. That moment when you realize the person you loved was never truly who you thought they were, and your entire world falls apart. However, they are mistaken. The worst thing? It is the aftermath. Because when I was moving on, Monica found herself trapped amid the debris she had caused. What's the best part? She was forced to accept it. Her life quickly fell apart. Monica initially believed she would be all right. She pretended to be indifferent, as though she was too good to be impacted. Then again, reality set in. The residence was lost to her. She was unable to make the payments and had to sell the car. She was so embarrassed that she had to return to living with her parents. Her former pals? They vanished. Because nobody wants to spend time with someone whose life is in complete disarray. Monica, too? There was nobody left for her to impress. William was taken for everything by his wife. It never occurred to Monica that William's wife might truly desert him. She believed it would be just another covert affair with no repercussions. However, I made sure that didn't occur. Because she didn't simply confront him after I sent her the picture of Monica and William at the restaurant. She spent money on the best divorce attorney available. When she was finished, William had to relocate into a subpar rental after losing half of his assets. Monica, too? Suddenly, she was no longer worth the hassle. After all, why would he want to keep a lady who had already destroyed his life? Thus, he left her. Not a warning, just utterly ignored her. She went from living in her childhood bedroom to being pampered by a wealthy married man. What about the embarrassment? She was broken by it. The final message she sent months went by. Then, unexpectedly, Monica sent me a message. A long, frantic email. Cliff, I don't expect you to forgive me, but I just need you to know. I regret everything. I was selfish. I took you for granted. And now I see that you were the best thing that ever happened to me. I spent a lot of time looking at the screen. Then, I removed the email. No answer. No resolution. Since I didn't require it. She was merely one more phantom from my history. What about ghosts? They are not worthy of second opportunities. My most recent recollection of her. According to a mutual friend, Monica made another attempt at dating. Looked for a different man who had more ambition, wealth, and status. But she was followed by her notoriety. People were aware. They heard the events. Furthermore, no respectable man desired to be with a lady who was constantly searching for something better. So she made a compromise. Married a mediocre man with a respectable income. Not wealthy, not aspirational. Just a steady guy who was unaware of her history. What about the irony? She ended up exactly where she had begun. However, this time, she detested it. Since she was aware of she's had a man like that before. She also tossed him aside. The finest retaliation, do you ever think about her? Is a common question. And my response? No. The truth is, that rage isn't the best form of retaliation. They aren't being screamed at, fought with, or even made to suffer. It's just going on. Because even though she lives the rest of her life regretting what she did, I'm too occupied with my life. And that is the ultimate form of retaliation. Karma is thought to come with a boom. That it occurs quickly, immediate remorse, immediate punishment. However, that isn't how it operates. Karma moves slowly. It's the weight of all your poor choices suddenly catching up with you. What about Monica? Karma wasn't simply letting me go. It was the knowledge that she would never be able to win me back. The final conversation I had with her 2 years have passed after the divorce. I had entirely left her behind, moved on, and created a better life. Then I heard my name being called one afternoon while I was at a cafe. Cliff? I pivoted. There she was. Monica. She had a new appearance. Not too awful, not damaged. Simply empty. Like a person who has been observing their past fade away for years. We just stood there for a while. Then she smiled tentatively at me. Her words, "You look good." I gave a nod. "I know." She tucked a lock of hair behind her ear and gave a feeble giggle. "I've been meaning to reach out." I arched an eyebrow. "Why?" She shifted on her feet and swallowed. I miss you, Cliff. I miss what we had." I cocked my head. "What exactly do you miss?" Her breath caught. Since she was aware of my question, the security was missed by her. The stability was something she missed. She longed to be with a man who would never have cheated on her. The life she tossed away was missed. She was also curious as to whether she could retrieve it. However, she was unable to. Because of that door, it was permanently shuttered. The second she acknowledged, "I'm happy now, Monica," I said in a composed tone. She opened her mouth a little, as if she had not anticipated it. "I know," she said in a whisper. And at that very moment, I believe she finally got it. She may say she's sorry. She might regret it. She could hope for another opportunity. It didn't matter, though. Since she was enmeshed in the past, I had already gone too far. The last farewell, she inhaled nervously. "I'm sorry, Cliff, for everything." I gave a nod. "I know." After that, I grabbed my coffee, flipped around, and turned to leave. No rage, no bitterness, just tranquility, because I no longer had Monica in my life. And that, the true penalty, was that. The finest retaliation, people, inquire as to whether I ever consider her. And the reality? I don't, because causing them pain isn't the best kind of retaliation. It's just going on. Because as they go their entire lives regretting what they did, I'm too occupied with my life. And that is the ultimate form of retaliation.